What's up, guys? Kamikaze Fox coming to you from SRL F1 2018 on the PS4 platform. This is going to be round 12 at the Principality, Monaco, Monte Carlo. And if there's one race you're ever going to win in Formula One, this is the one you want to win. It's the equivalent to the Daytona 500 for NASCAR. It's the equivalent to the Indy 500 for IndyCar. It is the one race that everybody wants to win, and today in SRL, we've got 16 plus drivers vying for that top spot of the podium. We've already got some guys chiming in on the live chat. We've got Sam Brandt, who's going to be racing today, I believe. Penguin, Charlie Russell joining in from GTA fame. Foons Van Houten, Captain Morgan with us again. And we're going to run down the driver list here in just a second as we wait for a couple other drivers to join in. But starting off, we've got Foons Van Houten, Sandro Dulius, Francis McGinn, your championship points leader, Ivan Brito, Rennie Vanderstapp finally back in the fold, Colin Higgins, Tim Hofnagel, Jorge Correa, Dion Stahl, Nick Van Gelder, Vasilios Belasiotis, Luke Smith, Irfan Daniel, Louis Quinlan, Cameron Weston Edwards, and of course me, Kamikaze Fox, bringing all the action to you here live for round 12 of the SRL League, and that is the Sandro Racing League. And while there are many SRL leagues, there is only one Sandro Racing League. So last time out was a couple weeks ago, round 11 at Paul Ricard in France, where Luke Smith took his second pole position of the year. But what we saw was a titanic battle towards the end of the race between Francis McGinn and his teammate Vasilios Belasiotis as they swapped lead. Number of times in the closing laps. It was an incredible battle to watch. Francis McGinn came home with his fourth win of the year. Vasilios picking up his sixth podium finish. And Sandro Dulius came in third, picking up his fourth podium finish of the year. And Cameron Weston Edwards came home fourth. That was his best finish of the year so far. Sam Van Elven had a great race last time out. He came home fifth. That was his best finish of the year. Smith, even though he started on pole, ended up coming home in seventh. Dion Stahl was eighth. Ivan Brito was ninth, and Sam Brandt came home 10th after starting in the last position of the field due to a qualifying ban from the previous round. Rounding out 11 through 17 was Jo Marusic, Tim Hofnagel, Foons Van Houten, Irfan Daniel, Colin Higgins, and Jan Holm and Jorge Correa, both 16th and 17th, crashed out with a couple of DNFs. And for Francis McGinn, that was his first win since round 8. And Sandro has been on a tear. It was his third podium finish in a row. And again, Sam Van Elven had his best finish of the year. Luke Smith, unfortunately, fell from first to seventh. And Jan Holm picked up his sixth DNF of the year. He currently leads the league in DNFs, while Jorge Correa is right behind him with 5 DNFs. And in fact, that was 3 DNFs in a row for Jorge Correa in SRL. And he's been having just as many struggles in IRL, the other league that he races for, where he's had a rash of DNFs this year. So Jorge will be looking to finish the race. Top 5 in the points is Francis McGinn after picking up that win. He's got 149 points versus Nick Van Gelder, who's bringing up second place here with 133. Sandro, with his 4 podium finishes and 3 in a row, has managed to creep into the third spot with 127. And Vasilios Belasiotis, the other Force India, has 122. And the dark horse of the competition, Rennie Vanderstapp, who's not completely out of it, running 5th in the championship right now with 100 points. So we've got Chris Ryan joining in on the live chat as well. And yes, as always, I fight allergies on a daily basis. So we're waiting for this to get kicked off. We're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session. And then we'll do a 50% race as we wait for the rest of these drivers to load in. And while we're doing that, be sure to check out the IRL, the other league that I commentate for. IRL F2 will be running today at about 11:30. They'll be running at Azerbaijan, Baku for the European Grand Prix. And you can also check them out tomorrow at 11:15 for the F1 league. And it looks like we are getting ready to set this off. So this is kind of a treat for me. I've been commentating for SRL now for officially over a year, and I've been doing the same thing for IRL, but none of my commentating have I been able to commentate a Monaco race. I missed them last year, so luckily I'll be in this year to do this. I've got Rafael Brito joining in on the live chat as well. So any takers today? Who do we think's going to win? Who do we think's going to finish on the podium? I'm willing to bet Sandro picks up another podium finish today if he can stay out of trouble and keep his front wing clean. Francis McGinn is your championship points leader and always a threat. But Monaco can be a race of attrition with the narrow track and the Armco always wreaking havoc, I should say, on the cars. So this could be a race of attrition. And we've got rain for the qualifying session, so that's definitely going to mix things up. So 18-minute qualifying session to see who gets pole position, and pole position is so critical here because passing is usually made on pit road because the track is so narrow, and now with the 2018 cars, the cars are so wide, it's really hard to make a pass on track. So really the strategy, race strategy is going to be key on where you're going to finish. Race strategy and keeping your nose clean is going to be the two biggest things going into today's race. Plus starting position. As you see some of the cars starting to head out on track. This is Francis McGinn, it looks like. Francis McGinn or Vasilios Pelisiotis as they head out on track. This is McGinn, he's on full wets. You see how hard it is raining here at the municipality. The Côte d'Azur. Francis is the first one out on track. Nobody's even left the pits yet, so Francis is going to try and put in a lap before anybody else does. Looks like Rennie van der Staap is just leaving the pits now. And you can see how much the Force India is sliding around on Francis McGinn. The tight right-hander, and then downhill into the hairpin, the slowest corner on the whole F1 calendar right there. 30 miles an hour. They come out of there, down the right-hander underneath the tunnel. And back onto the rain. And again, on his outlap, he jumped on board, which you can see how hard it's raining. Head down into the swimming pool section here. A couple of quick right lefts, left right. And then down to Tarascas, Casino Square. See the back end kick out. So Francis McGinn going to start his first hot lap. See what kind of time he can set. He bounced off the Armco a little bit there as he heads up the hill. Got a couple of guys coming out on their outlaps now. Looks like we've got Efren Daniel, Louis Quinlan, Cameron Weston Edwards, Sanford Dulles all on outlaps. Jorge Correa's on an outlap. And you see Francis McGinn is already starting to catch up to traffic here on his hot lap. So this is another factor that's going to come into play during qualifying. And during the race is going to be lap traffic. See how much input. The car is just so squirrely in these conditions, and you hit the drive pavement. Oh, and look at this, one of the McLarens is around. It looked like that might have been Louis Quinlan. Yep, Louis Quinlan had gone around at the end of the backstretch there out of the tunnel. Francis McGinn still on his hot lap. Oh, and he slams the Arco there. Bangs the right side against the wall. You see one of the Scuderia Toro Rosso Hondas out there struggling for grip. Oh, and McGinn's back end snaps around on him almost. So McGinn's able to set a time of 1:24.778. And that was a mighty struggle to make that happen. The car is sliding all over the place. Louis Quinlan's car was turned around coming out of the tunnel. Rennie van der Staap's just gone 1:25.020. Pick up Sandro Dulles. He's currently on his outlap. Ivan Brito has just gone 1:26.4. James Van Houten 127. So even though that Francis McGinn rated all those problems on his hot lap, he's still set the fastest time so far. Nick Van Gelder 128.590. He's off the pace. Ooh, and he slides through the corner there. That might validate his lap time. This is a brutal qualifying session. There is so much water. You can barely even tell that there's a racing line at this point. Oh, and he bangs the wall again. He does that too many more times. He's going to run into some suspension damage. So again, there's a caution in sector 3. That might have happened just behind Francis McGinn. And McGinn doesn't improve his time at all. Louis Quillen manages to set a time at a 1:26.430. Sandro Julius does come across the line 1:20. Oh, there we go. Rennie Vanderstapp to the top of the charts. 1:24.431, just as Julius came across at a 1:24.8. We're going to pick up Dion Stahl. He is Sandro's teammate. He's in the other Scuderia Ferrari. Forecast is supposed to be dry for the race, so it'll be interesting to see how much the times drop in comparison to the qualifying session. See how slow they're going around that hairpin there. Everybody just struggling for grip. Rain, the great equalizer. Some of these slower guys might be able to take advantage of this wet and hopefully get a good qualifying spot. Qualifying here really means everything. The pole to win ratio here is something ridiculous, like 80% or something like that in the last 10 years. Oh, and Ivan Barreto's retired from the session. He was 4th quickest. Willing to bet he's probably hit the wall. Looks like somewhere in sector 2. Dion Stahl, the back end, snaps around. Oh, Dion Stahl is struggling for grip really bad. He's going to cross the line 1:27.034. And look at this. Vasilios Beliciotis is going 1:23.698. Francis McGinn must have had a clear track, 1:22.798. He is a second faster than his teammate. And these two raced hard last time out at Paul Ricard. There was no team orders. These two went blow for blow, lap for lap, trying to get the win. Ultimately, Francis McGinn came out on top, and only on the last lap, and only in the last couple of turns of Paul Ricard's circuit. And right now, it's another Force India 1-2. Pick up Cameron Weston Edwards. He's getting ready to start a hot lap here as he's finishing his out lap now. Coming down into turn 1. Edwards had his best finish last time out with a 4th place finish. Actually, I should take that back. He had a podium back at round 9 in Azerbaijan, so that was his best finish of the year, was round 9 when he came home 3rd, so 4th. Good effort by him last time out. He's been struggling a little bit this year. Got a few DNFs at the beginning of the season. Finished mid-pack most of the time. And struggled a little bit this year with the setups on the 2018 cars. But really got it together for Baku. So he has to get in. See how little track space there is here when you go through the tunnel and try and get around one of the cars there. You see the Toro also blows the corner. And you can barely see a racing line starting to form. It's not much of one, I'll tell you that. Tries to get the power down. Back end kicks out. Power slides coming out of the corner. The caution in sector 2. Now we got caution in sectors 2 and 3. Comes across the line 1:26.418. His time wasn't validated, so no lap time set yet. camera watching that. He bounces off the wall, up the hill, and that is going to ruin that lap. We'll pick up Vasilios and Velociotis. Okay, and he's struggling, and he dives into the pits. Sandro Dulius off the pace. Pick up Rennie Vanderstap. He's down at the hairpin. The rain is just torrential. 8 minutes left to play in this session before we kick off the actual race. Rennie Vanderstap's got a good time, 1:24.431, but that's basically second and a half plus off of the pole time set by Francis McGinn at a 1:22.798. Caution sector 2 and 3. Some of these corners are so tight, these cars are so wide anymore. Got to get a little bit extra steering input in to try and get that car to turn in 1:24.315. So he improves his time, but not his position. Meanwhile, while this has all been going down, Luke Smith did set a time of a 1:23.650. So he is fourth quickest so far. Jorge Correa has set a time of 1:26.382. So only 3 drivers have yet to set a time. That's Tim Hoffnagel, Ifrit Daniel, and Colin Higgins. And Higgins is on his outlap. Higgins had a really good qualifying session back at Paul Ricard. Unfortunately, that wasn't Paul Ricard. Might have been. He had a really good qualifying session, but he didn't manage to translate that to the race. Down the hill, hard on the brakes. Get to see how slow they're going. Oh, he looks like he hit the wall there. Bangs it off the Armco again, and there you see one of the Saubers and McLarens. Also in sector 3, Ivan Brito is the only driver that is out of this qualifying session. Here comes Higgins across the line. And his time was invalidated, so he's yet to set a time as well. Ifrit Daniel set the time of 1:41.103. I'm going to assume he ran into some lap traffic. 5 minutes left to play in this session. And we pick up Vasilios as he slaps the back end against the Armco, trying to head up the hill. I'm really surprised. You can tell how slow the cars are going by how many times they've hit the wall and not broken the suspension. So as many times as some of these guys have hit the wall, nobody's broken a wheel or broken the front suspension or anything like that. So they're not hitting the wall. Even though they're hitting the wall, they're not hitting it hard enough to actually break anything, but they're hitting it hard enough to slow down their time. Caution in sector 2. Now whatever Ivan Brito did, he did hard enough to end his session. He's currently 10th quickest. He was 4th fastest when he actually wrecked. We didn't pick it up on the feed. And you can just see how bad the car is sliding. Can't even keep it straight. Sector 3, that's the Renault there, getting out of the way. Vasilios really came in there hot. Had to take a little bit different of a line. He sliding his car around a lot, trying to put this power down. Here he comes across the line, 1:22.851, so he improves his time. He's now within a 10th of his teammate. You can see the car just sliding up the hill. Vasilios is really trying to take it to his teammate. There's no love lost between Vasilios and Francis McGinn. McGinn is your championship points leader, as we talked about earlier, with 149 points. Vasilios has got 122, sits fourth in the championship point standings. He's got 6 podiums this year. 2 of them are wins. Meanwhile, Francis McGinn has 5 podiums this year, with 4 of them as wins. So, the Force India team, I mean, as a constructor, they are well out in front of anybody else. And it looks like Ifrit Daniels running into some issues. He was 13th quickest on the grid, and it looks like he's done for the session as well. And we've also got Whip That Trick joining us in on the live chat. Probably a few minutes ago as we call the action here. Whip That Trick. Georgie Boy in the house. He is from GTA fame as well. Right now we're watching Vasilios Meliciotis. Can he come across the line? 122.636 to the top of the charts for the Force India. And now Francis McGinn with 2:44 left to play in the session. Does Francis McGinn have anything to retake back that pole position? It's not going to be on this lap. And Ifrit Daniels coming on the chat saying it's good to start in the back of Monaco. Didn't want to inconvenience the faster driver, so he's going to start in the rear of the field. He's 14th quickest now. But I don't know if it's a good thing to start in the rear of this field unless it's a race of attrition. It looks like Tim Hoffnagel has left the session. His car didn't even leave the pits, so not too sure what's going on there. Possibly an internet issue. As we continue to watch Francis McGinn. And you see one of the Toro Rossos is parked out of the way. Just trying to stay out of the way of Francis McGinn, who's on the hot lap. Sandro Dolius is also go 122. He's broken into that. Oh no, Francis McGinn, he's blown the corner. That's going to blow the lap. So McGinn's going to have to get around to the backside of, he's going to have to get around back to the checkers. If he can get to the flag stand in time, he's got 120 to get there. Francis McGinn getting out of the way of the Toro Rosso now. Looks like he's trying to let that Toro Rosso get away, maybe give him some running room. Good caution in sector 3. Here goes McGinn. He's going to come across the line with enough time. He'll be able to do one more flying lap as he heads down into turn 1 now. Slaps that wall just a little bit coming out of turn 1. This is it. Less than a minute to go. Flying laps will count. Continue to watch Francis McGinn now. He's going to give it one more effort here. Try and set that fastest lap down the hill. Down into the very slow hairpin. You see that Toro Rosso there. That is Colin Higgins. He's currently 13th quickest on the grid, right in front of his teammate Ifrit Daniel. See Higgins power sliding out of the way as they head into the tunnel. This is where McGinn blew it last time coming out of the tunnel. Louis Quinlan is retired from the session. He was 11th quickest. McGinn makes the corner this time. Oh, and look at this. Vasilios improves his time, 122.615. So life just got harder for Francis McGinn as he tries to put in one last-ditch effort to try and set the fastest time. He's actually catching the Toro Rosso. Rennie Vanderstapp is retired from the session now. He was 6th quickest. The Toro Rosso's in the way. Colin Higgins needs to move his car. Higgins stuffs his car into the barrier. McGinn coming across the line. It's going to be close. 122.518 for Francis McGinn. Takes the provisional pole position. We pick up Luke Smith. Luke Smith on his last out lap. Does he have anything for the top spot? And Luke Smith, 123.033. He'll be 4th quickest. Here comes Nick Van Gelder. He's a 10th up on his previous time. That's not going to be enough. 123.181. pick up Vasilios. Pretty sure Vasilios is done for the day. So an unbelievable last lap, Hail Mary, last-ditch effort by Francis McGinn to set the fastest time. As we see Vasilios playing around in the rain. A 1:22.518 for Francis McGinn. Unbelievable time set. Francis McGinn, so I hit nothing because I'm watching. So here's your starting order. This is Francis McGinn, followed by his teammate Vasilios Belasiotis. Sandro Dulius starting third. Luke Smith fourth. Nick Van Gelder is fifth. Rennie Vanderstapp is sixth. Dion Stahl seventh. Cameron Weston-Edwards eighth. Foons Van Houten ninth. Jorge Correa 10th. Louis Quinlan 11th. Ivan Barreto is 12th. Colin Higgins is 13th. Ifrin Daniel is 14th. And Tim Hoffnagel did not set a time, and it looks like he had left the session and rejoined, so he may be having some internet issues. He'll be starting dead last here at the Monaco Grand Prix. And it looks like it is going to be bright and sunny for the race as we wait for it to reload with their running order. So an unbelievable qualifying session. And it looks like we do have a random that has joined us. I've been informed by the league that would probably be Devin555 Bro. So hopefully he does not play a factor as we get ready for the formation lap here. So again, your running order, this is going to be Francis McGinn. Francis McGinn picks up his 7th pole position of the year in the wet. He'll be followed by his teammate, Vasilios Belasiotis. He'll be looking to add another podium finish to his 6th that he has so far this year. Sandro Dulius is on a tear so far, 3 podium finishes in a row. Luke Smith is coming off of his 2nd pole position last time out. He'll be starting 4th, hopefully try to make his way to the podium. Nick Van Gelder will be starting 5th. He is 2nd in the point standings. They'll be looking to try and close that gap to Francis McGinn today. And Rennie Vanderstapp, the dark horse, 5th in the points. He'll be starting 6th. He'll definitely be wanting to work his way through the field and try and put some points on the board, hopefully with some other misfortunes. Dion Stahl in the other Scuderia Ferrari. He is playing driver B to his teammate Sandro Dulius. So are their team orders in effect? We'll find out, I'm sure. Cameron Weston-Edwards and Lee Sauber will be starting 8th. He'll be looking to try and add to his couple of good finishes that he's had 3rd and 4th this year. He's looking to have another one. Foons Van Houten will be looking to try and make his way through the field, put some points on the board. Jorge Correa will be starting 10th, and with his rash of DNFs this year, he'll be looking to just finish a race. Same thing with Louis Quinlan, who's starting 11th. He also has had a rash of DNFs this year. He'll be looking to finish the race. And again, the same with Ivan Barreto. He's also had a lot of DNFs heading into today's race. He's actually got 5 on the year. So he'll be looking to finish the race as well. Colin Higgins will be looking to put some points on the board if he can move up a few spots. Ifrin Daniel, who was the slowest car in qualifying, he'll be looking to try and work his way through the field. And Tim Hoffnagel, who looks like he had internet issues, did not qualify. And then we have Devin555 Bro. We're going to refer to him as Devin Bro. He'll be starting at the back of the field. He is at random. His finishing position will not count. We're going to wait for the 5 red lights. Lights are out. Time to run what you brung. And it looks like Francis McGinn got himself a really good start as they head down into turn 1, but Vasilios is all over the back home. Looks like a couple of guys are trying to go 3 wide into turn 1. That's not going to work. Rennie Vanderstapp racing up the hill side by side with Cameron Weston-Edwards. I want to make a little bit of contact towards the top of the hill. Luke Smith has already worked his way into third around Sandro Dulius. Cameron Weston Edwards still side by side. It looks like he's lost the spot to Rennie Vanderstapp. Dion Stall's lost the position to Louis Quinlan. Quinlan's worked his way up to 9th. And we see here the two Force Indias are already starting to gap the field. That is Francis getting Vasilios, and that is Luke Smith in third. It looks like Jorge Correa's lost a couple of spots. He's now fallen back to 11th. Looks like we're having some timing and scoring issues here on the opening lap. 3-second time penalty has already been assessed to Louis Quinlan. Oh, it looks like Luke Smith hit the wall back there. Bounced off the Armco. And now the timing and scoring is starting to finally catch up here. And we've already got a lot of guys into the pits. That's Louis Quinlan, Ivan Brito, and Devin Breaux have all gone into the pits already, probably because of wing damage on the opening lap here. Nobody has crashed out as these two Force Indias pull away from each other. And we've got ourselves a little bit of a tire war here because we've got Francis again out front on the Super Softs. And it looks like we've got Vasilios and Beliciutis on the Hyper Softs. And it's interesting that we bring that up because last time out at Paul Ricard, these two were both on different tire strategies coming down towards the end of the race, where Vasilios was on softs and Francis Jacquet was on the ultras, and they both battled it out side by side. We also have Theo Wire joining us in on the live chat. He's also from GTA Claim. Good to see that he is on the live chat as well. We've got most of the crew in there with Charlie, Whip, and Dio all joining in on the live chat as we continue to watch this battle here on the opening couple of laps. And these two have gapped the field. You see there, that's Vasilios running in second. Luke Smith is almost 2 seconds behind Vasilios and Francis McGinn for first. The DRS has been enabled. That is the drag reduction system. DRS not really a factor here. The only DRS area, I believe, is on the front stretch where the rear wing slot will open up if you're within a second gap of the car in front of you to give you a little bit of higher top end. But the front stretch here is so short, it's not going to be much of an advantage. You see Devin Breaux has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Looks like now Francis McGinn has been able to gap his teammate by about half a second now. So the Hypersofts that Vasilios is on, they are the fastest tire. They've got the most grip. As you see, Vasilios has now closed that gap back down within 0.2. But the Hypers are going to give up tire life a lot quicker. Luke Smith just picked up a 3-second time penalty. And I got a feeling time penalties are going to be a huge factor in today's race. And it's really at that swimming pool section. It looks like Luke Smith bounced off the wall again. So we continue to watch this battle. It looks like Cameron Weston Edwards is headed into the pits. Move some of these guys up. So Vasilios is hanging tough. He's still within a second gap, and here comes Luke Smith shooting down. There's Sandro Dulius. The top 5 cars relatively close to each other, only separated by about 3 seconds. First defense. Oh, and Foons Van Houten was running 7th. What has happened to him? Oh, his car. There's his car. Destroyed. The left front suspension destroyed as we pick up Infradeno going by him. And Devin Breaux has left the session. I can only assume that he realized he was not supposed to be a part of this and didn't feel like doing 39 laps here at this race. If we see now that there's going to be a time factor right there, 3-second time penalty for Vasilios. I don't believe Francis McGinn has picked one up yet. And Francis McGinn sets the fastest lap. We see Jorge Correa picks up the time penalty. So Francis McGinn 1:12. And that's about 10 seconds faster than the qualifying pole time that Francis McGinn had set. He's starting to gap his teammate now, and is up to 0.7 of a second. And we are on lap 5, and those Hypers are going to start giving away on Vasilios' car. The Hypers are going to probably last somewhere between 5 to 9 laps around this track before they really start to give up some of the tire life. Gonna pick up Nick Van Gelder real quick. He's closing in the gap now with Sandro Dulius, and Luke Smith just picked up another 3-second time penalty. So Van Gelder is second in the points behind Francis McGinn. How narrow this track is and how hard it is. And Ifra Daniel has retired from the session. He was running 10th. What happened to him? Oh, look at his car destroyed coming out of the tunnel. Left front suspension absolutely broken. What is this here? We've got, what is this? One of the lap cars. That's one of the Red Bulls. That's actually Nick Van Gelder's teammate. Oh, and Louis Quinlan has retired from the session now. Oh, and you see his car is destroyed there on the against the wall. So Nick Van Gelder has lost touch with Sandro Dulius for the 4th spot, but Rennie Vanderstapp has closed the gap to Nick Van Gelder. Meanwhile, Vasilios Belasiotis is still in pursuit of his teammate back at the front of this field. And that, unfortunately, is another DNF for Louis Quinlan. Quinlan has struggled mightily this year. He had a rash of DNFs at the beginning of the season, which started back in November. He went on a sabbatical because he was having problems with his steering wheel. He got a new steering wheel for Christmas. Came back the week after Christmas on New Year's, and promptly, oh, look at this, Vasilios lost the back end of his car. That cost him a little bit of time. But back to Quinlan, as I was saying, he came back the week after Christmas with a new wheel. It was a new year, and unfortunately it was the same result. And it has been par for the course this year with Louis Quinlan, which is a real shame because Quinlan was actually a really good midfield runner last year on F1 2017 for the PS4 platform. But 2018 has not been able to translate. So see, Dion Stahl just got around Tim Hoffnagel for the 7th spot. And now Vasilios has lost touch of his teammate. He has fallen a second back to Francis McGinn. Meanwhile, Rennie Vanderstapp is still working on the backside of Nick Van Gelder. See a lot of bouncing off the walls here. Ooh, look at that. That left rear almost slapped the wall. Daniel chiming in, disappointed with his result. Crashed from a corner that's, according to him, is his money corner. And down to the hairpin. It looks like Dulius has caught up to Luke Smith in the battle for 3rd. You see debris left there from prior accidents. That was Ifra Daniel's car, I believe, that crashed there. Looks like Cameron Weston Edwards just got around Tim Hoffnagel to pick up the 9th position as we watch this battle for 3rd unfold. It looks like Luke Smith's going to dive into the pit, so that's going to give up the position. Sandro Dulius is now moved up to 3rd. So Luke Smith is the first one. Oh, and Ifra Daniel has left the session officially at this point. Luke Smith is the first of the front runners to make a pit stop. Oh, and Tim Hoffnagel is still having internet issues. He looks like he left and had to rejoin. That would explain why his car has been off the pace. So Hofnagel's struggling with his internet, and if that's the case, he is best to retire his car into pit lane and call it a day. And it says he has left the session again. So Hofnagel continues to struggle. Vasilios has caught back up to Francis McGinn. That gap was 1.2 seconds a couple of laps ago, and it is now 0.2 of a second. And it looks like Francis McGinn starting to struggle with tire temperature and grip as the back end kicks around. And Vasilios, there's no love lost between these teammates. There are no team orders. There's no A driver, B driver. I mean, obviously McGinn has more poles, more wins, and more points this year, but Vasilios has been fighting real hard this year. And a big lock up there by Francis McGinn. Looks like the front tires are starting to give up, and he might have flat spotted them. You see another puff of smoke come out of him. So Francis McGinn, even though he's on the harder compound of the two, looks like he is struggling for grip. Vasilios has been able to close the gap back down. Foods Van Houten saying he was taken out by the random, which was Devin Breaux. But Devin Breaux has left the session. However, he didn't retire the car in the pits, so his car is just AI going around the track. So that's unfortunate for Foods Van Houten. And when he did get taken out, there is a good chance that Devin Breaux was still in the session. We see Ivan Burrito now has gone around Tim Hofnagel's McLaren. Again, Tim Hofnagel's having internet issues, so his car is AI as well. Then Jorge Correa is in the pits. And Sandro Julius has picked up a 3-second time penalty. And it looks like Francis McGinn has gapped his teammate again. Up to 1.7 now. The car is getting a little bit spread out. Tires start to wear. I'm surprised that Vasilios has gotten his hypers to last this long. It looks like Luke Smith just hit the fastest lap. Smith is currently running in 6th, but he's also got a multiple 3-second time penalties. So when the time penalties are assessed at the end of this race, it'll be interesting to see how much that shakes up the running order. The closest battle on track right now is actually Rennie Vanderstappen, and he is still trying to find a way around Sandro Julius for the 3rd spot. He's managed to find his way around Nick Van Gelder. And I know Sandro Julius has a couple of Sandro Julius has multiple 3-second time penalties. Rennie chasing Sandro, and it looks like Vasilios is finally pitted, so that hands the 2nd spot over to Sandro with Rennie Vanderstappen in hot pursuit. Meanwhile, 10 seconds ahead of all of this is your leader, Francis McGinn. He's pulled out to almost an 11-second gap. Vasilios manages to come out of the pits and into the 4th position, so that is pretty beneficial. The pit stop delta here is actually pretty small. About 21 seconds the time you hit pit road, get a pit stop, and back out. Depending on how quick your team is on getting the tires on, and if you don't need to have a wing replaced, but that's right around 20 seconds. So we're going to pick up Ivan Burrito, who is racing with Tim Hofnagel's car again. Even though the car is AI, Burrito's lost the spot to him. And that looked like it was one of the Force Indias, and it looks like Sanders just ducked into the pits. He's going to hand 2nd spot over to Rennie Vanderstappen. And Sandro is away. You see the AMG Mercedes safety car there. And that moves Vasilios into 3rd, so Vasilios gets his position back to the undercut. And here comes Luke Smith. Oh, and Smith was so close. He was going to try to take that corner. He's got the momentum. He's got the fresher tires. I should say he's got the warmer tires. Cuts to the inside. Sandro not going to be able to hold the position. Luke Smith's car's darting all over the place. He was trying real hard to get that position. Moves him into fourth. So Sandro on the fresher tires, but Luke was already up to temperature. He was able to dive into that corner. He had a little bit more grip. Sam Brandt is asking for tire detail, and there it is. Lots of supers and lots of ultras. Vasiliev started on the hypers. Francis has started on the super softs. He's going start the same thing with Rennie Vanderstappen. He's on the ultras. They haven't pitted yet. Neither's Dion Stahl, Colin Higgins. You see Luke Smith had 3 more laps on his tires. Actually, I should say 4 more laps on his tires than Sandro Dulius when he made that move. But Dulius' car, his tires are going to start to come up to temperature, come up to pressure. And Sandro is going to be looking to make a move back to get that position back from Luke Smith. While these two have started to battling it out, Nick Van Gelder's actually started to try and move the frame here. So Van Gelder just starting to close that gap a little bit to these two. Meanwhile, Francis McGinn has pulled out the 14 seconds over Rennie Vanderstappen. Rennie is making his first pit stop of the day. He's going to give up the second spot to Vasilios. Is he going to be able to come out in front of these two? And he is not. Luke Smith, Sandro Dulius, Nick Van Gelder. So Rennie falls from... Oh no, and Dulius is going around! In a very dangerous spot for him to go around. Slides the car back out. He's going to lose the position to Rennie Vanderstappen. Good save by Sandro to not put that wall, or not put that car into the wall. Not put the wall into the car. Not to put the car into the wall. Slides it back around, gets back going again. Looks like he made a little bit of contact. Looked like Luke Smith bounced off of the wall and made a little bit of contact right rear to left front on Sandro's car, and it was just enough to spin him around. So a good save by Sandro to keep going. Nick Van Gelder now is on the inside of Luke Smith, who is struggling with grip now. He might have a little bit of wing damage, it looks like, on the left front end plate. So Nick Van Gelder picks up the 3rd position. Meanwhile, Francis McGinn's yet to pit, and this is going to be very close, actually. McGinn, like I said, pit stop delta here is about 20 to 21 seconds. So it would be close right now if McGinn pitted to whether or not he would come back out in front. But he is going to need to pit soon. And Luke Smith has headed into the pits. He was in not that long ago. It looks like he's probably going to need a fresh set of tires, and he definitely needs a wing change. Take the old one off, put the new one on. So Sandro's going to get that position from Luke Smith, and now Sandro's closed the gap to Rennie Vanderstappen for 4th. Meanwhile, Luke falls all the way back to the 8th to the 9th position. And he picks up a 5-second stop and go penalty for corner cutting, and that's actually got more to do with the yellow line leaving the pits. He crossed that yellow line leaving the pits, so that's going to give him a 5-second stop and go penalty. Obviously, if he doesn't serve the penalty, it will be assessed onto his time at the end of the race. And he's already got 2 or 3 3-second time penalties for corner cutting. So Luke Smith is having an abysmal race right now. Cameron Weston Edwards looks like he's on some old tires. Cameron's on 12-lap old super softs as he's trying to run his race. Meanwhile, we're going to pick up Sandro Dulius again. He is fighting with Rennie Vanderstappen for the 4th position. Meanwhile, Francis McGinn has lost time to his teammate. that 20-21 second gap we were talking about for the pit stop delta, well, that's gone. The time between Basilios and Francis is 17.2 seconds. So when Francis McGinn pits, he is going to give up that first position. And he's also going to give up a couple of seconds worth of time to his teammate. So you see, interesting how the strategy goes for Francis McGinn and how long he looks to run these super softs. And you see here, this is Rennie van der Staap. He's closing the gap to, oh, that is Devin Breaux. That is the lap car of Devin Breaux, wreaking havoc on these two here. And that car's AI, so it's not like he can get out of the way. The car's going to stick to the racing line. Sandro Dooley is still trying to get around Rennie van der Staap. Sam Brand, who's not with us today, is joining us on the live chat. He says that Francis will be quick as hell with the pits. So it'll be interesting to see. However, that gap is still continuing to shrink with 17.2 seconds a lap ago. And it looks like Tim Hofnagel has retired from the session. Not sure if it was his actual car that has retired from the session or he himself who was behind the wheel. He's had internet issues all day. Trying to see if we can pick up where his car is, but it looks like there was such a huge gap between him and Ivan Brito. Oh, and there you see it, the left front suspension broke and done on the McLaren coming out of the tunnel. Well, Ivan Brito picks up the 10th position. That is the last point-paying position on the grid. 1 through 10 to score points today. Meanwhile, we continue to watch Sandro try to find a way around Rennie van der Staap. Now, Rennie's been a little bit of a dark horse this year. He's 5th in the championship point standings with 100 points. He's 49 back from Francis McGinn. But he has not given up. He has put in a couple of really good drives this year. He's really been quick during some qualifying sessions. He picked up his first pole position in round 10 a couple of rounds ago in Spain. Ended up coming home third. That was his second podium of the year. So Rennie is a very consistent driver. Usually always finishes in the points. Not many DNFs. And he's a really hard driver to get around on a normal track. So it's going to be twice as hard for Sandro to try and find a way around him on this very narrow street course here at Monaco. Rennie's already one of the toughest drivers to try and find a way around, and Sandro's going to have his hands full as he's had to back off a little bit. Catches up to him under braking, but it's not a good passing point. The cars are just too wide, and you see Cameron Wilson-Edwards now picking up a 3-second time penalty. And the gap at the front now, Francis McGinn, his lead has been cut down to 11.7 seconds. We continue to watch Sandro, and he'll be in DRS range, but again, the DRS, the front straightaway is so short here, the DRS is not as much of an advantage as it could be on some of the bigger tracks. We're working lap 20 of 39. We're about halfway. We're a little over halfway now through this race. Really the halfway mark. Oh, and Rennie. I don't know if that's a piece that flew off of his car or if he hit a piece of debris in the road. Rennie on the super softs, Sandro on the ultra softs. The ultra's the faster of the two tires. However, it's going to give him a little bit more grip quicker than the super that Rennie's on. So, interesting battle going on here, not just race-wise between these two drivers, but strategy-wise as well. And Basilios has now got Francis McGinn's lead cut down to 10.2 seconds. Continuing to fight it out. Sandro thought about it. He thought about it. There was a gap there, but again, and he gives him a little bit of a nudge there in the back. So Sandro's definitely, I think, the faster car right now, but he's being held up, obviously, by Rennie van der Stap. If he can get a good run out of here, he can make some progress through the tunnel. He might be able to make a dive bomb down into the corner here. He doesn't go for it. He thinks better of it. Meanwhile, the gap at the front is 6.2 seconds. So Francis McGinn is still your leader, and he is on some very worn, super soft tires. Vasilios Belasiotis is 6 seconds behind him for second. Nick Van Gelder is third, running all by his lonesome. And we've been watching Rennie van der Stap and Sandro Duilius battle it out for fourth. Luke Smith has had a up and down day for sure, is currently running sixth. Dion Stahl is seventh. Colin Higgins managed to keeping his nose clean so far, running eighth. Cameron Wilson-Everett is ninth. And Jorge Correa has managed to work his way into the 10th position. And Ivan Brito is just coming out of the pits in 11th. Devin Bro's car is AI. He does not count. He's not a part of the league. Tim Hoffnagel, Louis Quinlan, Ifrit Daniel, and Foons Van Houten, all DNFs so far. And Francis McGinn has just come into the pits to get these tires switched over finally. And Nick Van Gelder is too far back, so the battle is going to become Francis versus Vasilios again. Just like it was last time out of Paul Ricard. So Vasilios 11 seconds ahead of his teammate. Oh no, and Jorge Correa DNF. Jorge just managed to come out of the pits and get on his car there. You see the left front suspension destroyed. Car is up against the wall. And another DNF for Jorge Correa, unfortunately. His bad luck this year continues. As we pick up Rennie van der Stap. It looks like Sandro Duilius has managed to get around Rennie. Rennie's going to be looking to try and take that position back. Sandro into the fourth spot. And Jorge Correa has officially left the session. And Rennie van der Stap looks like his tires may have given up. We missed the pass, so unfortunately, trying to see if maybe he's got a little bit of wing damage from bouncing off of the wall somewhere. It looks like the right front end plate might be missing a piece. That may have been what flew off of his car a couple of laps ago when we were watching him. He may be struggling here. It looks like the right front end plate is gone on that front wing, so that'll definitely affect his handling and turn in. So he's going to get a little bit of push going into some of these corners. And he's not going to be able to hang with Sandro Duilius because minus the downforce, he's also going to have too close, he's going to get some aero wash off of the car in front of him, so he's going to lose a lot of front end grip. So the cars are spread out a little bit now. Francis McGinn, 13.5 seconds off his teammate with about 15 laps to go. And Francis make up that gap. That's going to have to be about 3/4 of a second a lap if he wants to try and catch his teammate by the end of the race. That's going to be an average 3/4 of a second a lap. And he is on the Ultras. That's an interesting race strategy. He ran the Supers really long, and he just set the fastest time at a 1:10.724. So he is pushing it. He is on the go button. Trying to keep tabs on this, and that is now it's about 13 seconds, locks up the left front. I'm surprised he was able to get those Supers last as long as they did with all the lockups that he had going over the front tires. So the two things we're going to want to watch. We're going to want to watch the time gap between Vasilios first, and Francis McGinn, which is about 12.6 right now. And the next thing you're going to want to watch is Sandro Dulius on Nick Van Gelder, which right now is 7.2 seconds. And Francis McGinn just picked up a 3-second time penalty and lost some time. Oh, and he's going back into the pits. The ultras are not working for him. This is not good for Francis McGinn, but this is good news for Nick Van Gelder. If Van Gelder might be able to pick up that second position and put some points, close that points gap between him and Francis McGinn. Here comes Van Gelder. He's going to pick up the second spot. Where's Francis McGinn? Still in the pits. Oh, and there goes Sandro Dulius. McGinn's going to lose 2 spots. So Dulius now moves into third. Francis McGinn right behind him. Looks like Francis was having problems with the Ultra Softs. He switched over to the Hypers now. He's going to run the Hypers the last 12 laps of this race. This is your championship points leader, and everybody that is in front of Francis McGinn right now are drivers that are trying to catch him in the point standings, and right behind him is Reddy Vanderstapp. The top 5 drivers in the point standings are all running top 5 right now. 4 of those 5, I should say 3 of the 4 that are behind Francis McGinn in the points. Oh, and you see this? They're banging side by side. Francis McGinn makes the move. Sandro's not going to be able to hold him off. So now there's only 2 drivers in front of Francis McGinn that are behind him in the point standings. That is Nick Van Gelder, second in the points, second on the grid, 31 seconds behind Vasilos Veliciotis. So Francis McGinn, he is going to lose ground in the point standings to Nick Van Gelder and Vasilos. What an unbelievable turn of events when Francis decided that those tires weren't working for him and dived into the pits. And again, time penalties are going to be assessed at the end of this race, and that's going to change up the finishing order depending on how close you are to the driver in front and how many penalties you have. So it's still up in the air what the actual finishing order is going to be. So Sam Brandt was right. Francis was fast as hell coming out of the pits, but he had to make another pit stop because the ultras weren't working for the car. Now he's on Hypers, and is he going to make the Hypers going to be able to last? As I was talking about gaps to watch, the gap now to watch closest is going to be Francis McGinn, who's 4.8 seconds behind Nick Van Gelder. But again, McGinn just set the fastest lap at a 1:10.319. So 4.5 seconds between him and Van Gelder. Now, unless Vasilos falls to some sort of misfortune, he's got this one in the bag. Vasilos can finish this race. He's 32 seconds ahead of Nick Van Gelder in second. We'll continue to watch Francis McGinn. Looks like Francis might have run into some problems. He just lost a huge chunk of time to Nick Van Gelder. Looks like Dion Stahl is making a pit stop, so he's going to lose a position to Cameron Weston Edwards. Possibly lose a position to Colin Higgins as well. Here comes Dion Stahl out of the pits. So Dion Stahl comes out of the pits in 9th. Oh, and Dion immediately smacks the wall, breaks the left front end plate off of the wing. He'll probably have to make another pit stop. And that might be Vasilos behind. That That's Francis McGinn. So McGinn is behind Dion Stahl. Dion's going to move aside. I thought for a second there Dion might hold Francis up and let Sandro maybe close that gap to him a little bit, but don't want to get a penalty for ignoring the blue flags. So Sam Brandt has brought up an interesting little factoid here we need to take into consideration. He says, how many races has Vasilios DNF'd that has been leading? And Francis will catch Nick. And I want to say that Sam is probably referring to Monza would be the best case of Vasilios leading a race and basically crashing out. That was back at I think it was Monza. Or have we not done Monza? What the hell am I thinking of? No, that was IRL. That was Belay Himalayan. That was Monza, IRL. So ignore that little factoid. But yeah, Vasilios has a couple times this year been leading a race and had things go a little south for him towards the end of the race, where he would lose the positions and ultimately lose the win. 35-second gap there between Vasilios and Francis McGinn. I'm sorry, Nick Van Gelder, and then Francis McGinn is 3.9 seconds behind him. So everything might still be at play. I mean, the fight for the championship, I mean, Francis might catch Nick Van Gelder, but as you can tell earlier in this race with some of these other cars, catching the driver and getting around the driver are going to be two very different things. And Francis has already shown us a couple of times that he's pushing really hard to try and close that gap, and it's ultimately cost him some time a couple of times. He had to make an extra pit stop. A few laps ago, he was within striking distance. He was 4.5 seconds behind Nick Van Gelder. Lost 3 seconds on a lap and had to build, fell back as far as 7.5 seconds. Had to build that all back up again. So Francis is coming. He's 2.6 behind Van Gelder. And it's dropping considerably here. Oh, and you see that back end snap around and a full reverse lock for Francis. He tries to get that power down, and another 3-second time penalty for Luke Smith. Now there's a 40-second gap between Luke Smith and Kevin Weston Edwards for the 6th spot, so 6th is probably pretty secure for Luke Smith this day. The laps are winding down here in Monaco. Francis McGinn closing that gap into 2nd place. Nick Van Gelder. Big lockup by Francis coming out of the tunnel, heading down to that hairpin. So the huge puff of smoke out of the front tires. And the gap. Oh, and look at this! Van Gelder has caught 2 lap cars. Here's McGinn, and this is bad news bears for Van Gelder. Which car do you go around? Which car do you go with? Francis McGinn. 4 wide into the corner, and he pushes Colin Higgins out of the way and makes the move on Van Gelder. That was a little aggressive by Francis McGinn. Or was that not? That wasn't Van Gelder. That was the AI car of Devin Perot. Van Gelder's still in 2nd spot. But McGinn went in there 4 wide into the corner, pushes Higgins out of the way. He lost a little bit of time to Van Gelder I got confused the two Red Bulls there. I thought for sure that was Van Gelder that lost it out, but it was the AI car of Devin Pro. He's not a part of this race, really. The car's AI. He's not even a part of the league. 2 lap cars. That's an unfortunate series of events for Van Gelder to catch them to, especially in Rascast towards the end of the lap. Oh, and that's a 3-second time penalty for sure from McGinn cutting that corner. He so badly wants to get that second spot. The 3-second time penalty, I mean, I don't think Van Gelder's picked one up today. I could be wrong. It's very hard to keep track of all the time penalties that are assessed throughout the course of a race. I don't think Van Gelder has one, and if that's the only one McGinn has, then he's going to have to get by Van Gelder and then build a gap of over 3 seconds to retain that second spot when this race is over. And the laps are winding down quickly. You figure the leader's running about the 1:12s and 4 laps to go, so you've only got a few minutes left to try and make something happen. And I gotta be honest, I'm not too sure how I feel about Francis McGinn's pit strategy today. I mean, he made a great run on the first stint with the super softs. He made him last a super long time, but he lost a lot of time to his teammate Vasilios. There was a point in time where he could have pitted for fresh tires and still came out in front. And look at this, McGinn's gonna pit again! Unbelievable! The strategy is not working for Francis McGinn today. And look at this, Sandro Julius and Randy Vanderstapp. Francis McGinn is just now leaving. Here comes Rennie and Sandro. There goes third, there goes fourth. Francis is going to fall back to fifth. Where is Luke Smith? Luke Smith is making another pit stop. So this race has fallen apart for Francis McGinn, and now, officially now, the 4 drivers that are chasing him in the championship point standings are all in front of him on track. Everybody is going to gain a couple of points on Francis McGinn today. And Randy Vanderstapp, we're now having a battle for the last spot on the podium in these closing laps, working lap 36 of 39. I don't think that Francis McGinn is going to pretty much secure the 5th spot. Oh, and a time penalty for Vasilios. And Francis McGinn's retired from the session. Oh, no! What has happened to McGinn? We pick up Luke Smith's car. Where is McGinn's car? McGinn's car it had to be in that section there. The car's nowhere to be found. And while all that unfolded, we missed it unfortunately, but Randy Vanderstapp has gotten around Sandro Julius for the 3rd position. The race has just completely unraveled today for Francis McGinn. Unbelievable turn of events. He is going to fall to 10th on the grid. Randy Vanderstapp makes the move. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable what has happened today to Francis McGinn. This race started off so promising. The first stint was unbelievable. But after Vasilios made his first pit stop, everything has unraveled for Francis McGinn. What an unbelievable turn of events. And this was not one of the things Sam had talked about. Sam had actually brought up the fact that Vasilios is the one that has crashed out a couple of times this year while in the lead. But Francis McGinn trying to pursue everybody, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he's not going to score any points today. Nick Van Gelder will come home with 18 points. That is going to just about tie them up. Actually, that would give Nick Van Gelder the points lead by 2 points in the championship. Unbelievable, and we're starting lap 38 of 39. And Luke is saying since he's jinxed everything today, Cameron Weston Edwards will pick up the 5th position, which does beg the question, what could possibly go wrong for Luke Smith that hasn't gone wrong already today? A couple of extra pit stops, wing damage, he's on hypers, he's got multiple time penalties. And Francis McGinn has officially left the session. His car will come home 10th, which is good for 1 point. I'm not sure that he gets that point. I'll have to possibly Sam can clarify that if Francis McGinn will get that last points paying position. So Vasilios Belasiotis, he is started the white flag lap. He is working on picking up his 3rd win of the year. Vasilios is 4th in the points. This is really, with Sandro finishing 4th, Vasilios finishing 1st, and Nick coming in 2nd, that's really going to make an interesting points battle going into the next round. And you see Vasilios here, it looks like he's caught the backside of Dion Stahl's Ferrari. Dion running 7th. And here comes Vasilios and Belasiotis to pick up his 3rd win of the season. Congrats to him winning here at the Principality. We pick up Nick Van Gelder, who is 50 seconds behind all this. He is just now leaving the hairpin. And he's got the AI car of Devin Rowe, and this looks like the Sauber of Cameron Weston Edwards digging around. Luke Smith is officially 5th. Dion Stahl 7th. Colin Higgins is 8th. Nick Van Gelder coming across the line to pick up another podium finish this year. That'll be Nick's 6th podium of the season as he comes home 2nd. Rennie van der Staap, again, an unbelievable drive. This guy has absolutely no give up in his bones at all when it comes to playing this game. He's going to come home 3rd. Another amazing run, picks up his 3rd podium of the year. And Sandra Dolius, who's had an up and down day, will be coming home 4th. And now we're going to see how the time penalties are assessed. Does Luke Smith lose any more positions? So here's your, for now, the unofficial results. That is Vasilios Belasiotis, the top spot of the podium there in the Force India. Picking up a very much needed win and a very big win here at Monaco. See, Rennie van der Staap is 3rd, Nick Van Gelder in 2nd. So here's the unofficial finishing results for today's race. Got Vasilios Belasiotis, Nick Van Gelder, who did not have a time penalty, good for him. Rennie van der Staap, Sandro Dolius, Luke Smith, Cameron Weston Edwards, Dion Stahl, Colin Higgins, Ivor Brito, Francis McGinn, rounding out your top 10. Devin Bro's not a part of this. His finishing position will not count. Jorge Correa, Tim Hoffnagel, Louis Quinlan, Ifrin Daniel, and Foons Van Houten, rounding out the 15 drivers if you take Devin Bro out of it. All of them with DNFs, unfortunately. What an unbelievable race today here in SRL. That is quite an exciting Monaco Grand Prix. Now, if you want to catch up with more SRL action, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. You can check out previous races from previous seasons and get caught up on all of this year's races. And we are going to be back again in 2 weeks' time. Not next week, but the week after at Budapest for the Grand Prix of Hungary. And it will be interesting to see how this, the closing stage of this season, Hungary, we're really starting the second part of this season. We've got Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Great Britain coming up. That'll be the next 4 races. And then after that, we've got Canada, United States, Mexico, Japan, and we will end in Brazil. And the way this championship is playing out, it's anybody's game right now between Francis McGinn, Nick Van Gelder, Sandro Dulius, Vasilis Belisiutis, and Rennie van der Stapp. It is all up for grabs between those 5 drivers. So, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to SRL, and be sure to check us out in 2 weeks, Grand Prix of Hungary, and we'll see you at the next round.